You usually sit at the head of the table.
I know, but it's pretty lonely up there right now. Are we waiting on anyone else? I guess so.
Good morning.
So, just to kick things off, I think we agreed to come back today at noon and see if there are any updates. Are there any from?
Well, there's right now, especially over there, the power to the stage has been shut off.
The what?
The power to the stage has been shut off.
What station?
The stage.
Stage.
Oh, stage.
That was what we were using to make coffee and plug our phones in. The Wi-Fi still hasn't been fixed. Apparently it's not broken. It's still there. It's just turned off. That should be turned back on. But other than that, we've gotten some incidents, and just to address some of them, the problems, we can handle the situations and we got them solved. So it's not like anything else, but I'm going to throw it to Randy here.
Yeah, we need the Wi-Fi and the power, which is that would be highly grateful if we can get that turned back on. The situation is that's been down there. We've been handling it. We didn't call no cops unless it is like severe or necessary. So only time we call the cops.
What situations?
That was on the news about a stabbing or knife, anything that's sorted with a knife.
Okay.
That was done by the police, and that was an outsider. It wasn't anybody within the camp of that nature. Which is they stated that in the news, that it wasn't anywhere near, on our camp.
Okay, so why don't we jump right into the meeting? What have you came up with?
We've come up with the options we left off with Friday.
Okay, well, you guys, we have a few options.
I believe there's an old nursing home that's been sitting there for about 8 years over in the Pentwood area. Somebody's told us about. And
Kentwood? Where
Petwood.
Up on Elm.
Oh, Alma. Okay. Was it like a skilled nursing?
Yeah. No, I think it's been sitting there for about like 8 years, untouched. And you don't know hardly anything about that, or with the building and everything. So yeah, we're gonna look into that and see where we can go from there, and let you know.
Research on that.
So, and we'll let you know.
Do we have any information on that? Yeah, Dave.
Well, a little bit, because I was checking into that facility a few years ago. This could be changed by now, but at that time I talked to the owner, and it was out-of-town person who owned the building. It's not city property or anything like that.
Right.
For a while, we were keeping a security guard in there. At that time, that owner had a very, very large mortgage on that building, and so because I was looking to buy the building for a good price, provide some services there, and was not available at that time because the mortgage was so high still on that building.
Is it
Privately
still?
owned.
Would you be able to get in contact with the owner?
I could. I'd have to dig back. This was a year or two ago, and actually drove by the building this morning because I knew you'd been bringing it up. There was no contact information that I saw on the outside of the building since it's been boarded up. At the time I was looking at it, they were still, the owner had a security system that was hired, and that person was staying there every day at the building. So now that it's been, boarded up, I'm not quite sure what the status is, but I might be able to dig around, but it's privately owned. it has not been, it's not a land bank building that's been foreclosed on or anything like that. It's private property.
Okay, so is it community? I mean that. So what is it like? Just the mortgage just way too high on the building?
Yes, that was the situation when I talked to the owner a couple years ago. That he had a mortgage, and it was at the time he told me it was a very, very big mortgage, and I don't know what the status is of all that. So,
Is there a way that you can look into it for us, or?
I mean, I'll try. I'll have to dig around a little bit to see who I talked to. And like I said, when I drove by it, there's no contact information on the building. I'm sure there's ownership, as it relates to, records for whose name's on the building. Generally, the city would have something like that in the database. I'm not sure if it was off the tax rolls because it was previously used as a nursing home, so I'm not sure what that status would have been.
All deeds and ownership can be found in the county clerk's building. I know this. They can be looked up by the parcel number, the property number, and you can find out exactly who owns that property. If you're up to date with your database, it should take you no more than 5 minutes to find out that information.
Right. Well, it's public information. Anybody
Yeah, it's
can get to
public.
it. So you don't have to be a special
So you
situation.
could find out too.
Yeah, you could find out too. It's also sometimes, can be information like, Blue Moon LLC with a post office box somewhere. It doesn't give you a phone number or something. So until you look at it, you don't know how immediately available it is.
I also know of a couple properties that the land bank owns right now that are 4 to 5 bedroom homes that are located on the south end of Edward Street, close to Dunkley and what's the other road? Prouty. There are 2 different properties there that are 3 to 4 bedroom homes that are currently owned by the land bank.
Are you sure?
I'm very positive. I've seen the sign several times because I used to go down that road every day as I trespassed onto KMR's property to live in a trailer that they had out there, because they have acres and acres of wasted, undeveloped land KMR owns way too much of that can be developed. They're also sitting on over 100 DLT decommissioned trailers that can be refabbed and turned into tiny houses. And I know this exists because I've been out there.
Have you contacted KMR?
Only when they kick us off of the property and call the police. The actual owner is kind of a airhead, to say it nicely.
Okay, so
Because obviously we don't have an ability to
Right.
get them
Right.
to open up their property.
well, so we got some few options here, but we need to address some of the issues here. We were supposed to have the Wi-Fi, get that fixed.
I never agreed to the Wi-Fi. I said it's
Dude.
broken.
The
But it's
Wi-Fi
not
was
broken.
shut. It's
It's
not
just
broken.
And,
simply shut off. It's been
And the
broken for
electric
2
too,
months.
I've made it clear that as long as you're in there illegally, we can't provide electric. That stage is available to those that lease the park. So that's my position.
According to constitutional law, we are no longer in there illegally. So therefore,
That's a point of interpretation.
that I interpret constitutional law. You need to read the 14th
I
Amendment
see
of the
that we
United
ain't getting
States.
nowhere.
No, we're not.
We're not getting nowhere. So we got a few options
Okay.
we've thrown out. You clearly don't have anything new from the last meeting. So the demands are the same. Well, we got a list of these.
Yeah.
We want to let the people know our name is hashtag Occupy Kalamazoo, sponsored by the Bronson Park Freedom Encampment. We will also want a investigation of the allegations and abuse at the Gospel Mission that I currently had to solve this morning that you guys know about.
What was that?
The immediate access to mental and emotional and physical health supports Some people, they need help. And they need help with that.
Do you have these in writing?
Oh yes, I got it right here.
Okay, can we get a copy of that? Just
Yeah.
I'm trying to write these down.
Jim, I'll make
but-
sure they're emailed to you.
Okay. So, can you explain a little bit about the immediate access? What is, I guess, others around the table, what is the access right now to
Carl.
healthcare or mental health?
Here.
And,
You read that. And he's asking you a question.
All right. Over the weekend, members held numerous community meetings to solidify their leadership structure, assign community roles, and update their demands to include the voices of new members in the encampment. They were visited by numerous allies, churches, and organizations, all here to support and advocate for their cause. Hopefully, we'll finally have a chance to discuss our demands with the city of Kalamazoo. For those who are interested, our demands are as follows. We, the Kalamazoo City Commission, we want the Kalamazoo City Commission to have an open public discussion regarding our demands laid out by the Occupy Kalamazoo sponsored Bronson Park Freedom Encampment. We want an immediate and thorough investigation to the alleged abuse occurring at the Kalamazoo Mission. We want immediate access to mental and emotional physical support, because some people have mental incapacities and they're not being cared for properly. That's one of the biggest causes of homelessness, is mental disabilities and people not being able to get them cared for properly because they don't have the proper medical that we need. We want a structurally sound vacant building or a few vacant homes in close proximity to each other that BPFE members can coordinate, volunteer, and contract services for in order to get property up to code. Meaning we, the people, are willing to do the labor to get the things up to code. We want the city of Kalamazoo to utilize expertise of our members and national best practices, meaning what other cities and states are doing to work on their homeless problem. We want the city of Kalamazoo to look into these things. Y'all are sitting on $800,000 in the county that is meant to help the homeless community, and you guys are doing nothing with it. I know you're the city, but you work with the county, Mr. Anderson.
So
and these are things
I want to make
need to be
that
taken
point
care of.
clear. The city has no direction or ties to that
The
money.
city is part of Kalamazoo County. Therefore,
But that's a whole separate government.
no, the city is part of Kalamazoo County. And when funds are allocated to the county, that includes the city
Right.
of Kalamazoo.
Not
so
the
you
city
guys,
government.
Yes, the city government.
Mm-hmm.
Carl.
General welfare of the people to local government. You guys need to really study the Constitution because you suck at it.
Okay.
Not getting anywhere.
No, I'm being honest and
I
blunt.
understand that. Hold on.
No, I'm reading these demands. And everything that I'm reading are constitutional. We want the city of Kalamazoo to, again, utilize the expertise of our members in the homeless community, national best practices, and work on a long-term housing first policy. Because most people, it's not that they don't want to work. But when you don't have a safe, sound, stable structure, and I mean a home of your own, people are not wanting to work. They've got nowhere to put their belongings. They got nowhere to truly feel safe. People have been assaulted at the gospel mission by staff members and other people there. The gospel mission is not a safe alternative. You have people with social anxiety issues that flip out. The gospel mission is not a safe alternative for them. So these kind of things, anything that diminishes the quality of life is a violation to the United States Constitution, considering we have a right to life in this country. So once you diminish the rights of one individual, you diminish the rights of every individual. Those things need to be addressed.
Are there any more demands?
Those were
Those
the
were it.
final demands. Yes, sir.
Okay.
You can get a copy of those. So we all understand that we ain't going nowhere.
Is that yours? No, we're not.
So let's work on that. We threw a few ideas out. If we can get maybe get some information on that, we can work with those, and we could come to, with you guys' help, come to an agreement with this. But until then, we're still going to sit up Bronson Park. I would ask if you could get the stage power on. If not, if I can get the number to the park manager or the owner of the park, because I'll call him myself and see if we can use the power, because apparently that's not right. Because we've been using that power for years. And just because we're there, we just get...
County owns the park, we lease
Yeah,
it.
okay, well then I guess I'll call the county. It's not that hard. Alright, so...
So we're meeting again Friday, this work group, we said what time? 10 or 11? 11 o'clock.
On Friday?
On Friday.
Alright, well,
And that's the work group coming around long-term solutions.
Okay.
And we've agreed that that's an important part of this. I would love to hear ideas around best practices out there, and because we're more than willing to look at what works and what could work here in Kalamazoo.
Alright. Well,
Okay.
oh yes, there's another thing that needs to be addressed. The people in the hotels, they're being kicked out.
Mhm.
And that's not right neither. Because you guys haven't, you signed a contract which said you would help hold them
And
in.
you would have housing for
Until
them.
the intake process,
Yeah.
and it's taking longer than we knew it would. So we can't continue to fund that as a city. We could probably work with other providers to help.
Again, you
Find
have
shelter.
2 empty houses that have been condemned simply because they have no water and power.
Excuse me,
on them.
sir, this is not a public meeting. Please
Yes,
sit
but
down.
this issue specifically pertains to me, and I'm speaking for those people, so technically, yes, it is my business.
I understand, but we have representatives here who we're working with.
Again, I will say, there is a condemned house on Edwards that was simply condemned because there was no water and power, and that it was seized by the land bank.
You want to check into that and see what is going on with that?
And it's a 4-bedroom home, and those families all know each other. So that dwelling
That'd
could be
immediate
provided
fix
for
that
them.
situation.
Okay, we'll check into that.
Thank you, I'd appreciate it.
Do you know an address or a block number, like the 1900 block or the 1800 block
It is in the 1600 block.
of North Edwards?
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, so,
It's a brown house on the right-hand side if you're coming from Patterson.
It's light brown, you said?
It's brown, yes. With a front porch. It might need a little bit of work, and again, we have people that are able-bodied that are willing to help put that work in.
The land bank doesn't seize any properties because of condemnation, first of all. Second of all, the land bank currently owns 3 structures. One's on Burdick, one's across from the Deacons Conference. It has a roof caved in.
Your name is on it.
Well, and then if my name's on it, it's because it's tax foreclosed, and the auction for tax foreclosed properties is tomorrow
Well, then why
at
can't that property
11:30.
be utilized right now instead of tax foreclosing it when you've got women and children and families that need this home, but you're looking for your bottom dollar instead of caring about the people. So instead of tax foreclosing on that property, you should utilize it for the people that need it.
I think there are various laws that do have to be followed and processes that do have to be followed. Now, that doesn't mean somebody couldn't buy it at the auction and try to figure out how to get it
You
in
guys
their
own it,
hands.
which means you do not have to do anything with it right away, which means you can utilize it properly. Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. I have family in real estate. You are not going to bullshit me. I can promise you that. I know legal laws and how real estate works. I know how things are bought and purchased. You've came up with the wrong person when you made me mad. I know laws. I know the Constitution. I know how real estate works. I know how building works. I know how building codes work. So you are not going to pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. I am a very educated individual, and you will come to find that out. I'm not playing games with you people. These are human rights issues, not pocketbook issues. Human rights. Everyone here is a human being. And until you stop looking at them like a paycheck and looking at them like people, you guys are trash. You need to get some integrity and some morals and some respect for everybody around you. And not treat people like trash because we are not trash. Simply because we don't have a bunch of zeros in our bank account. We need to be judged by our moral values and who we are in our heart, not what's in our bank account. That determines the worth of a person.
Okay.
Okay, back on to the subject that we were on.
Mm-hmm.
Besides that, there's another place that's over on off from Sprinkle Road. It's like way out. It's like a old mansion that sits right off to the left.
That's in the city of Portage.
Sprinkle and Bishop?
I believe that's like, yeah,
It's an
right
office
off from
building in
the
the
Portage
city of
area.
Portage.
Yeah, it's on Sprinkle and Bishop.
So we have to go to Portage for that? For that in particular information on it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
And again, privately owned, so
Right.
you can pull up the records in Portage and see who owns it and whether they are interested in doing something with it. I have no idea.
They're holding it for an office use because there's an office building right next door.
Okay, good. Okay, because I see the house, the old house, plus the barn in the back. I don't see any office near it.
Check up the owner and you'll find out which business it is.
Okay.
Well, we pretty much said what we had to say.
Okay.
You
Anything?
said what time was the meeting? On Friday?
11.
11 on Friday?
Yeah.
I guess we'll see you there.
Anything from the service providers? Any updates?
Just starting to compile a list of folks to invite to the table on Friday. Reached out to a few already, so hopefully we can get folks there on short notice. But yeah.
That is a good point. The families are in the hotels. We need to figure something out because they were promised something and it's not being delivered. So
Yes, we were told they'd be housed until secular housing could be found.
so we need to
And that was
do
in the
that
agreement that
immediately,
we
figure that
signed.
out. That is one thing that needs to be addressed, like today. Thank you.
Because now you guys are signing a document and telling me something, and then completely going back on your word.
Because you signed a document saying that they would be placed in secular housing. They would be placed until secular housing could be found. And that was included in the document that you gave us the 30 days on Cedar Street.
Yep.
Now, you went back on your word on a lot of the things on Cedar Street and a lot of the promises you made to us. They were not provided like they should have been. So you made the contract that we signed null and void on your part. You guys dropped the ball. We did not. So you need to continue taking care of these people as promised. I don't care if you got to take it out of your own pocket. You signed that paper, which was a legal binding document that was signed and everybody on the media has seen. So you're falling short as representatives of the people.
Well, that agreement
And we
also.
are all citizens. Again, you need to read the Constitution and every amendment therein.
Right.
And they have little pamphlets. I promise you, there's little pamphlets. You can walk right over across the street. It's about 150 yards from here. And go to the library and pick up a copy of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And you should study it tonight.
That agreement also called for you to be out of Bronson Park by 9 p.m.
And we did that.
Last
We
Friday.
followed that. We followed your
Now you're back
regulations.
in there, so.
Yeah,
Well,
because
you-
you
no,
dropped,
no.
1 second. You guys dropped the ball and you violated what we were doing. And you put us in a hot location with no shade. Our toilets weren't being cleaned properly.
agreed
You
to
put
the
us in
location.
unsanitary conditions.
We agreed to
and you
location
treated us
together.
like trash.
We got people saying that was a good idea on
Hold on.
Friday, and all of a sudden it's not a good idea on Tuesday.
After we lived
Listen.
there, I didn't see none of you
Listen,
guys
listen,
coming
listen.
out there. and
I came
sitting
out there
there.
Saturday.
Carl, hold on. First and foremost, he is correct. You guys did breach your contract by not delivering on what you said you were going to deliver on. It took, 3-4 days before we got the porta potties, and then we couldn't even get them cleaned until we moved.
You got the porta potties Friday night,
Yeah, we didn't get the handicap one until the day we moved.
and we communicated that to you, and you seemed okay with it.
Oh, well, we got it pretty quick over here.
Okay.
My point is this. You also put us in the hot sun when we went over there. It was getting to noon, so we weren't in the hot sun.
I didn't put you over there. We agreed that it was.
But my point is this, okay, bub?
You knew there was no shade. You knew
The reason why we came back is because you didn't provide what you said you were going to provide.
I provided.
We didn't get a big tent until afterwards. We're being harassed by people that work for the Kalamazoo County.
The tent was decided to help you.
Please don't interrupt me. I didn't interrupt you. All right. My point is this: you broke your contract, so that's why we went back to Bronson Park. So guess what? We're back at square one. The contract's null and void. We're just going to stay in Bronson Park until we can come up with another contract. Then maybe we can sign that, and maybe we can work on a deal that way. But until then, we're not going to just go on good grace that you are going to follow through with what you said you were going to follow through to, because you have failed multiple times.
So it is null and void?
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'll have a good day. I'm going to go drink some coffee.
Fool us once, shame on me. Shame on you. Fool us twice, shame on me.
Okay.
Who's got information on this hotel situation? What's the hotel situation?
They were housed through today, and we don't have a provision for beyond that.
How many families?
Sorry, he was out of line. I'm sorry. He was out of line on that. We kept telling him to.
Oh, that's right. Okay. How many? 3 families?
Three?
We're not talking about now. It's far off the subject. This is not what that meeting was for.
The list
meeting was for housing.
Right. Yeah, Melissa? Chuck
Coming to the table. May I understand his concept upset. But we gotta, I think people are ready to work for us. You guys are paying
Well, we covered it from Friday. We just can't. We're working with David, there are weekly rates that they used, and so that's an option, because it could be months before they're put into housing.
What's the terms of the compromise? That's what we gotta work on.
Melissa, do you know about this hotel?
I'm sorry. I talked to Jim this morning, and they said that they're no longer, the city is no longer going to cover hotel rooms. Or if I probably answer better when you ask me, what's the nightly rate of the hotel?
I think right now it's I think there's definitely a possibility for savings for a longer term option. I think we're thinking.
It was the guy that was sitting right. You guys don't want to.
Yeah, you're pretty good.
All right, anything else from, as far as next steps, we got the next meeting on Friday, so we'll get back together and work on solutions.
So just for clarification, Friday we're looking at both short and long-term solutions?
I think, yeah, we can certainly discuss both.
I just have thought about the size of the temporary groups that
Yeah.
we brought together will be entirely unwieldy in my estimation. If we try to pull every single entity that couldn't possibly have an interaction here, and I'm not quite sure how anything's going to come out of that. It seemed to me maybe we should have a little more focus on this Friday about, I don't want to go short and long, but I mean, long-term solutions is a bigger discussion, and you've got areas whether it's physical health, mental health, substance use, education, job training, all that stuff. And I'm not sure it would be very helpful to try to bring everyone involved in all that together. Maybe the idea would be, what can we do more short-term, for folks that might have some immediate resources or.
Yeah.
So
I would recommend that. I don't know. Maybe we could focus this group that way. I mean, we could end up, by the time you get everybody involved, you could have 100 people.
Right. Kelly, you had said Friday the occupancy max for your room was around 50.
Mm-hmm.
What room?
Classrooms at ministry with community.
Make sure we have lots of
That's at 10.
That's 11 to 1.
11 to 1.
At ministry. At ministry, yep.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jim.
So we're down in the assessor's office at 1:30, right, Lauren? Down in the assessor's office, and that's the one that's back in the.
Some of these are long.
That's for the organizing body.
I want